Last time out for the Honda British Talent Cup was at Silverstone, and it was Carter Brown that took the spoils. There was a problem on the grid for the number 33 of JJ Cunningham. Unfortunate start to the race for him, but it was led all the way by Johnny Garness, battling out with the number 7 of Jamie Lyons. Carter Brown kept his powder dry and just followed for the entire race. Managed to take the lead ahead of the number 7 of Jamie Lyons, and there was battles all through the race as it went on. Rhys Stevenson was having a really good ride up into podium contention. Unfortunately, not quite bagging that first podium that he was looking for, but it was the number 67 of Casey O'Gorman who was making moves, and it was the first time that he did not finish on the podium in the races that he's finished in the Honda British Talent Cup. Carter Brown then was leading towards the end of the race ahead of Lyons, and it was Brown that just snitched the victory ahead of Lyons, and a brilliant wheelie at the end to celebrate his victory. So the final weekend for the Honda British Talent Cup at Donington Park. We were here earlier in the year for the Donington Park National Circuit, but now they are taking the full Grand Prix circuit here this weekend. There is a championship on the line, a championship to be decided, and it can be any of the top 3 that take the championship this weekend. It could be Carter Brown that takes it today under some conditions, but it looks as if it's going to go right down to the wire. Very different conditions today, though. Evan Belford was your championship leader, 2nd in the championship, now 6th on the grid. Number 15 of Harrison Crosby picked up 2 podiums so far this season, picked up one by default back at Silverstone. Jamie Lyons as well picked up his first win back at the Silverstone British Grand Prix event, and he's going to be looking to pick up even more this weekend. Johnny Garness then is on that front row of the grid, looking really strong towards the end of this season. Prospect for next year. This, though, is your championship leader, the number 74, Carter Brown, on that RS Racing machine. Could possibly win the championship today if all goes his way, but on pole position, he has not quite yet given up on this championship. Only 11 points behind and on pole position for this race. Myself, Tristan Finocchiaro and Neil McKenzie will be bringing you all the action, and Neil, could be an interesting one.
Very much so. It could be anybody's race, really. We're going to have some wet weather specialists here that we might not have seen earlier in the year. We haven't had a lot of wet track time this year. I've just watched the Superbike race, and conditions are absolutely, well, lethal's the wrong word, but very, very slippy, and these guys are going out there pretty much just trying to feel their way around. They need to get temperature into their tyres. The Donington Park surface is maybe not the best in the country. It is okay, but it's quite inconsistent. There's a little bit of overbanding here and there. You have to be careful with that, particularly into turn 1. So really is tricky for these guys. They really need to set off, find the feet, get a bit of a rhythm, get a bit of temperature into the tyres. That's so important, and then just make their way around. But of course, there's a championship at stake here. Only a couple of races left. This is one of them. So as you said, it really is anybody's. But that looks, is that Harrison Crosby there in the Banks machine?
Yeah, really unfortunate for Harrison. Picked up 2 podiums so far this year. Picked up one by default back at Silverstone after a penalty was given to the 3rd place rider, and he was promoted from 4th up to 3rd. But it looks as if he's going to try and get that bike restarted and back into this race. So he's going to have to start from pit lane if he does get back into this race. And there's another problem. That's the number 41 of Luca.
That's Luca Hopkins.
It is Luca Hopkins,
yeah. Wilson Racing machine from Selby. Yeah, they're off on the warm-up lap now. So, yeah, these guys that do come out from pit lane, they'll need to start at the back of the grid. And looks like Bailey Stewart Campbell starting from pit lane as well on the all-pink machine. Plenty of incentive in this Honda British Talent Cup to go on and win this championship this weekend. It was we had an announcement earlier going into this weekend that no rider will graduate to the Junior World Championship this year. That was a strategic decision to be able to nurture these riders. It's a big jump up to that Junior World Championship. It really is, and safety is all important, and with recent events this year, everyone's really not concerned, but they really want to look after the youngsters and look after them in the best way possible, and safety is #1 priority. Always. There's no doubt that a lot of these lads are ready to take the next step, and maybe it should be looked on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, they're making way, they're improving. the road to MotoGP is still wide open for the Honda British Talent Cup, so these guys are very much in the frame, especially the ones that are running at the front. But yeah, a cautious approach at the moment, just to make the right decisions for the riders and for the Honda British Talent Cup.
Of course, it won't benefit any rider for moving them up too quickly, and having this decision doesn't necessarily mean that the riders won't make it into the Junior World Championship. It just means perhaps it will take an extra year, perhaps a year in something like the European Talent Cup or something like that, because we've seen some of these riders do that, but none of these riders have yet to score a point in that championship, so a big jump in competition.
Yeah, that's right. The European Talent Cup is a great stepping stone. And yeah, I mean, some of these guys are 13, 14 years old. They've got 3 decades ahead of them racing. So, well, it's nice to get track time and experience. You've got to keep that safe and just nurture them step by step. And when they're ready to move on, then the right people in charge will make the right decisions, I'm sure. But we've got fantastic pool of talent here coming through. We've seen great races at the front. There's half a dozen guys here that can win races, and we've seen lots of youngsters making their way through, so it really is bang on course. But yeah, it's good that people are looking at things and no one's rushing into furthering careers gung-ho when there could be any safety issues. So yeah, we'll just nurture these guys properly, and I'm sure we'll have a world champion.
It was Eddie O'Shea that moved up to the British Talent team in the Junior World Championship last year, but is that a problem on the grid for Johnny Garness? I think he's just overshot his grid position and he's just lining back up on the grid. So of course they've also got to be thinking about Eddie O'Shea out there and make sure they're nurturing him out of the Junior World Championship as well, because like we say, it's his learning year out there as well. But these guys now focused on this championship. Carter Brown could win here this weekend if he wins this race and Belford finishes 12th and Casey O'Gorman finishes 7th. Carter Brown could win the championship in this race. Likewise, if he finishes 2nd, Belford has to not score and Casey has to finish 12th or lower. It's not a statistical probability, but it is possible.
And it does happen in motorcycle racing. I'm glad you've done the math, Tristan. I'll just sit back here and just commentate on what I see, and I'll leave that algorithm with you.
Here we go then, the attention is to the lights for this first race at the Donington Park GP circuit, and it looks as if it was a good start from Johnny Garness on the inside. Is he going to take the whole shot down into turn 1? It's Casey O'Gorman who's late on the brakes, drops a leg. Are they all going to make it through cleanly? That's Lucas Brown up the inside of the lot of them on the number 29 SP125 racing machine, and the front two have broken away out through this first corner. Perhaps Johnny Garness a little bit tentative through that first corner, and that's just helped this stretch out the lead at the front.
Yeah, and it's nice we've had the race already here today. That cleaned the track up quite a lot, and these guys on the Dunlop, the skinny Dunlop wet tyres, and in some ways they're actually safer because they cut through the rain nicer and make things safe and very predictable for these guys. Johnny Garness there, he was pointing from his front grid slot into the first corner in the right direction, but Casey O'Gorman just outdrove him and confident, and very confident in the process. But yeah, they're still quite close at the front.
Now Rossi Banham up into podium contention on the number 96. His best result so far has been 8th back at Brands Hatch. So now he's up into podium contention. Still a long way in this race to go, so expect plenty of action for this Honda British Talent Cup Race 1. This is the final round of the year for these guys, and like we say, that championship is to be decided. But if it's going to go the way of Casey O'Gorman, this championship is going to stay wide open. It's 6 points between Carter Brown and Evan Belford, and 11 points between Carter and Casey O'Gorman, but that's 44 of Lucas Hill that's gone out of the race. So already a faller on this first lap of 12 for the Honda British Talent Cup, and really easy to do on that first lap, Neil.
Yeah, really, I'm very impressed how many riders haven't fallen off. They're doing really good. Yeah, the Ashcourt Racing machine there, the first one to drop down, but I think there's good grip out there. The guys are feeling their way around, and yeah, it's a real testament to their talent. And of course, these Dunlop tyres, what a good job they're all doing.
And look at Rossi Banham now trying to make a move up the inside at Goddard. Did he make that one sick? He did, so that's a brave move on the first lap from the 96 of Rossi Banham, chasing that first podium in the Honda British Talent Cup and in the BSB paddock. Of course, raced in the Junior Super Sport category in the past, but now here racing in the Honda British Talent Cup. Was out at Ella Park last weekend racing pit bikes and won 3 out of 3 races over there. But what can he do in the Honda British Talent Cup? It's O'Gorman that leads then, and he's got a hefty lead on this second lap of 12 ahead of Rossi Banham. Carter Brown's now dropped down to 3rd, and Jamie Lyons and Lucas Brown looking strong as well. He's up into 5th place from 10th on the grid.
Yeah, Carter Brown making me nervous there into turn 1, just on the overbanding where he was braking, but no problems on this lap. A good off-road rider, Carter, so I'm sure he's very comfortable with the bike moving around in these slippy conditions, hanging in there, but no one at this point has got any answer for Casey Gorman. 2.2 seconds up the road at this point.
So Lucas Brown from 15th on the grid, he's made up 10 positions on the first lap. He's quite, you can see him there, he's quite a tall rider on the all-black number 29. Is that going to help him in these conditions?
Yeah, I think so. I think the more weight you've got, the more heat you generate in the tyres, and that was certainly the case in Superbike class today in the morning and in the race. The bigger guys that can generate some heat. Fact is, if you're heavier and there's more weight going through the tyres, they're going to generate more heat. They're going to be more grippy earlier on. So yeah, it's a great leveler, the rain, both in the power to weight ratio and the size of the riders. It really levels things out. So he's in with a good shout today. He's certainly looking good at this point. The opposite end of the scale there is number 57, Johnny Garnes. He's one of the lightest, and we've seen that when it's nice and dry. He will out-accelerate off the slower corners, but of course a lot lighter in these conditions. So Ryan Saxby will have made that bike as soft as he possibly can, just to get him some feel going there. But of course, there is a limiting factor when you are so small and light.
Casey O'Gorman then set 2 purple sectors on this lap and he's pulling away out the front. It was 2.2 seconds last time across the line. It's 3.7 seconds out the front now that Casey has ahead of these guys. So he's got a hefty lead out the front, but now it's this battle for second place between Rossi Banham. Carter Brown is in there as well. There it is. Casey O'Gorman, fastest lap of the race last time round, in 2 seconds a lap quicker than, almost 2 seconds a lap quicker than anyone else on circuit. Friday in practice, FP1. He topped the session 3 seconds faster than anyone else.
Yeah, he's a class act. We all know that, and very much a championship favourite. And I think he might even got the job done early in the year had he not had the big accident and the big injuries at Knock Hill. So he's making great progress early in the season. But yeah, and he's just proving now, wet or dry, there is absolutely no problem. And of course, the winner of this championship gets the Dave Simmons trophy. Dave Simmons, the first ever winner of a world championship for Kawasaki back in the early 70s. Also won Grand Prix on 500 machines. So Jenny Simmons, his daughter, she'll be here presenting that trophy, hopefully. So a great accolade and a trophy that every British Talent Cup or every Honda British Talent Cup rider receives. Frank O'Bourne was the man last year.
And it could go one way of 3 this weekend. Carter Brown, your championship leader, currently running in 3rd place in this race. Casey O'Gorman 3rd in the championship, only 11 points away going into this race. And this is the live championship as it stands at the moment. Carter Brown is still that is leading, currently sat on 16 points in 3rd place. Rossi Banham looking defensive on that number 96, and that's one of the riders that's gone down now. That's 99 of Peter Willis that has gone down, so not the end to his race that he would have wanted. Only 3 laps of 12.
The Northern Irishman from Cullybackey. A lot of riders over the years, both in short circuits and on the roads, have originated from Cullybackey. So yeah, young rider, lots of potential, and then certainly lots of form from that part of the world, so I'm sure he'll be back.
Casey O'Gorman out the front then, 3.8 seconds it was last time across the line. We'll see what it's going to be this time across the line. Rhys Stevenson is up there, and there's a big group back here. This is 52, Evan Belford being passed by Sullivan Mounsey on the number 4. Mounsey picked up his first podium last time out at Silverstone, and now ahead of the previous championship leader, currently 2nd in the championship. All sorts of names through this battle. This is a battle from Evan Belford in 10th, Sullivan Mounsey now in 10th, all the way down to, there's a big number of bikes in there. There's Julian Carrera at the back of that in 20th, so all the way down to 22nd, Harrison McKay on the number 61, one of the Fab Racing graduates, and a shout out to Clayton Edmonds as well, his first weekend in the Honda British Talent Cup this weekend, and got webbed feet has Clayton Edmonds, but he's, and that's Bailey Stewart Campbell that's gone down. That's really unfortunate for Bailey. Had a really, and Lucas Brown as well, the reigning MKGP 70 Fab Racing champion, was having such a good ride, made up 10 positions on the first lap, and he's down and out of this Honda British Talent Cup race. So really not what these guys will have wanted.
Too bad. 14th and 5th they were, 14th and 4th respectively as they came over the line on that last lap. So good point scoring positions for both of these guys. 151 rider there, and we're going to get another look at that. Just that's approach down to the old hairpin. Oh, just turned in maybe a little bit too late on the brakes. I mean, there's a lot of grip out there being offered by the Dunlops.
Oh, Rossi Banham as well. That's disaster for him. That could have been his first podium, Neil.
Yeah, second place man. And I'm feeling that tyres are up to temperature. They've got a good feel for things, but they're pushing on. They are pushing on. There was some fast laps coming for these guys and fast sectors as well. So it's not like they've backed off. So they're looking for a bit more pace. And it's just slippy conditions catching them out.
Now watch Cormac Buchanan on the inside of the number 57 of Johnny Garness. Makes that move really nice and easily. Just blast past him on the brakes.
Yeah, lovely pass there. He kept that bike upright pretty much all the way till he was nearly at the apex, keeping on the big part of the tyre. Lots of grip there, had that front tyre loaded. He's another New Zealand rider there. He's another rider that's a bit heavier. He's in the Red Bull Rookies MotoGP Cup, so he's gained a lot of experience this year. And yeah, looking good. He certainly knows he's wet weather riding.
Yeah, 14 years old from New Zealand, Cormac Buchanan defending this position now from Johnny Garness, and this is now the battle for fourth. So Buchanan's going to be wanting to try and bridge that gap to the podium battle, but these two battling for second, Carter Brown and Jamie Lyons, a good couple of seconds a lap quicker than the guys behind. So it's Casey O'Gorman who's flying out the front, 5.5 seconds he has over Carter Brown, and then that's that battle for second and third, and then now Johnny Garness is just falling through the pack. He's got number 33 of JJ Cunningham who's trying to make moves on him. This is a brilliant ride from the number 33, possibly will be his best finish. His best result has been 16th so far, so if he can keep that on two wheels, up into 6th place so far in this race, and looking menacing, looking as if he's going to get the better of Johnny Garness.
Yeah, it's a shame. Johnny Garness actually inherited some good positions there with Banham and Brown going down, so it was actually playing into his hands. He's doing the right thing. He's keeping it safe. He's bringing it round. He's not crashing, but of course he is under threat there, and you can see that he's maybe going to lose another couple of positions in the not too distant future. Only on 5th lap of 12, so there's a long way to go in this race.
And Casey O'Gorman, like you say, a long way to go in this race. Casey O'Gorman setting purple sectors almost every lap. If you were on Casey's pitboard, would you be telling him just to calm down a little bit?
Yeah, I would, and I'd like to think Shane Byrne mentors Casey O'Gorman. I'm sure Shane's had a good talk to him, tell him to watch his pitboard. When you've got 5 seconds or 5.5 seconds like he's got now, you certainly don't. You need to keep concentrating. You need to keep doing your thing. You can't start thinking about what's for tea tonight. You have to really focus, but you definitely don't want to be pushing. And he's got to be feeling the conditions. So you've got to trust the guy. He's a talented rider. He's on that overbanding there. That is quite slippy. I'm sure. I hope Shane's had a word with him, not to get on there too hard on the brakes. But yeah, like you say, he's still setting personal bests in fast sectors, so he has to be careful. He doesn't need to.
Wet weather riding really suiting the number 67 of Casey O'Gorman, who now is the only rider under the 2-minute barrier. 1:59.8 on that last lap, 7.2 second lead he has over Carter Brown. It's half race distance now for these guys, and this battle for 4th place between Buchanan and Johnny Garness is brewing as well. Garness not dropping off the back of Buchanan.
He's not. He's watching and learning, and I like that. His lap times are coming. He did a personal best on the last lap. He can get he's got enough pace, it looks like, to go with Cormac Buchanan, so he can watch and learn and just let things circulate. Cormac Buchanan's the guy that's pushing on here. He's hoping maybe he can grab a podium if he gets lucky, but yeah, Johnny Garness doing a great job there.
So O'Gorman, Brown and Lyons are your top 3 as the number 33 of JJ Cunningham slots up the inside of Johnny Garness. Has lost another place. I think if he's not careful, he's going to have the number 23 of Rhys Stevenson all over his rear wheel as well. Rhys Stevenson picked up a top 5 at Snetterton a couple of rounds ago, and he's going to be looking to try and go one better as he's in this battle for 4th place. Cormac Buchanan's just pulling away from these guys a little bit now.
Yeah, it really is. He's digging in, using all the tracks. His knees sticking out there a bit because he doesn't quite fit on that little Honda machine, but yeah, doing a great job and cutting him down the inside there of Garness into the foggy S. He's nice and clean. He's a good little wet weather rider as well. I've been watching him, and he keeps it nice and upright as well. Into McLean's there when he pulled that pass, he stood the bike back up to brake a little bit more, so he understands what's going on with his bike.
Just see the rear wheel of Johnny Garness there, just skittling around a little bit on the brakes as he's going down into the Melbourne Loop. With that less, you know, he's quite a small rider with that less little bit of weight that he's got on there. Is that going to hinder him on those type of corners?
Yeah, well, I think he seems to have a good rhythm, and I'm watching his lap times. He's pretty consistent, so I think he's just feeling as he goes, and that's what it's all about. Motorcycle racing is just feeling the front, feeling the rear, being really smooth, building up rather than just attacking. And you can't attack in these conditions. So honestly, if I was in his crew, like you said, he's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, I'd be really chuffed with the job he's doing. He just needs to keep circulating, and he's improving. His lap times every lap are coming down. One thing I do think, though, you can see it's getting a little bit dark. I think there's a little bit more rainfall in here. Conditions could be changing slightly, so the guys will have to keep their eyes on that. Lap times have stabilised at the front. The last lap, Casey Gorman, although it's still miles faster than the other guys, he had slowed that down a little bit. There's no personal best coming this time from the top three, so that might be a result of a little bit more rain coming down.
Quick check again now on the championship. Here is your second place man in the championship, so he's now going to be out of contention in 16th place, with Carter Brown in second and Belford not currently scoring points. This will be him out of the championship unless he can get himself into a point scoring position ahead of race 2 tomorrow. This is brilliant for Casey O'Gorman's championship though, so Belford possibly out of it, O'Gorman very much in it, and Carter Brown very much in it as well.
Yeah, faultless ride from Casey O'Gorman, a championship winning ride, whether that means taking off at the front and being confident or just bringing it home. But ideally you can take off at the front, score big points, and then he can have an enjoyable race tomorrow where he doesn't have to think too much about getting away and winning it. He really will be in control.
It's all about the championship now, and Carter Brown's going to be doing all he can to rack up as many points as possible, with Casey O'Gorman running away with this race. He's currently in second, is Carter Brown, and it's going to have to fend off. That's the number 79, unfortunately, out. That's Harley McCabe, who's gone down and out of the race. So another victim of this greasy Donington Park circuit. So unfortunate end to the race for him. But Casey O'Gorman out the front of this race has been so consistent out the front, has been riding so well, and definitely scaring his team on pit wall.
Millimetres to the white line there in the middle of the Craner curve, and there's less grip there. I'd like to think that he's been super accurate. He is amazing little talent, so I'm sure that's exactly what he's doing, but I haven't seen him had a moment the whole race. He's even been using some of the red and white curbs and the exit at the corners, but that's fine if you're upright. He really has got a feel for things, and I know that kid rides most days of the week, whether it's supermoto or pit bikes or whatever, so I'm sure he's got lots of skills developed. We've got another follow there.
Oh, that's Cunningham that's gone down. That's disaster for Cunningham. He was in 5th place in this race and was looking in strong contention for that 4th place, battling it out with the likes of Cormac Buchanan and the number 23 of Rhys Stevenson. So let's watch it back. Just talk us through it.
Whoa, middle of Craner, just where I was saying Casey O'Gorman was very close to the white line. Yeah, you're carrying a bit of lean angle through there. You're on a smaller part of the tyre. It's obviously wet and slippy, but pretty much a faultless race up to that point. Looked like he was doing a great job.
So yet another victim of this greasy Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. We were here earlier in the year on the national layout, now here on the Grand Prix. We've got a couple more corners around this lap. It's 8 lap of 12 here for the Honda British Talent Cup. It's race 1. It's the final round of the Honda British Talent Cup 2021, and there is a championship to be decided. And that, of course, Neil, is putting Belford back in championship contention, because he's now back up into 15th. So he's not down and out of it just yet.
It's not over till it's over. That's the beauty of this. Yeah, he's just been promoted, and all he's doing is circulating, keeping things upright, just getting that bike round. So anything is possible. But yeah, he's on the verge there of not scoring points. So Belford down in 15th.
And we're going to have some maths to do overnight with these top 3 all in contention for the championship in tomorrow's race 2. As it stands currently, O'Gorman now 15 seconds ahead of Carter Brown. Here he is then, your race leader, and he's picking up some lapped traffic now. That's Holly Harris, the number 51, the first ever female race winner in the Fab Racing Minibike British Championships, but now just coming into the clutches of Casey O'Gorman as he comes around. He'll be able to navigate round Holly pretty easily, considering he's got a 15-second lead, and he does nicely done up the inside. Not too much trouble for the number 67. Doesn't have to worry himself too much.
Yeah, when you've got that kind of luxury of a 15-second gap, you can pretty much do what you want, but there's no 15-second gap here.
Now, there we go then. It is Jamie Lyons up into second place, and that is important for this championship. All points matter. So it's 25 points currently for O'Gorman. It's 16 currently for the number 74 of Carter Brown, and he's going to want to pick up 20 instead of 16 because it could come down to the wire tomorrow, and this could be such an important race. And now that's one of the Thornycroft riders down and out, so it's really, really unfortunate for the number 55 down and out of this race, and I believe that is Harrison Desoy who's gone out. It is the number 55 of Harrison Desoy out of this race, out of the first race for the Honda British Talent Cup, and let's watch it back.
Oh, yeah, a little bit wide there, you would say, or just sort of got on the throttle just as he headed out of the old hairpin there. So easy to get caught out when you're sort of feeding the gas on. They don't have a lot of power, these little bikes, over 40 brake horsepower. But just going to say, Jamie Lyons as well, he's only 4 points behind Johnny Garness in this championship, so he's 5th in the championship, but he wants to grab every position he can as well. So every point matters.
Brown up the inside, that's a bold move. He's got the inside line. Jamie Lyons really wide. He's left the door wide open for Carter Brown. Didn't need a second invitation. Now Brown back into second. Casey O'Gorman out the front. He's checked out. He just needs to keep it on 2 wheels. 17.7 seconds it was across the line, but now to lap 10 of 12, and Carter Brown up into second place. This is big for the championship.
That was a confident move for number 74, Carter Brown, but maybe if he had that up his sleeve, he could easily have saved it for the last lap because he got over the line with plenty to spare. So Jamie Lyons is going to fight back for this one. So yeah, we're coming up to the penultimate lap on the last lap, but yeah, every corner counts now for these two.
Casey O'Gorman then has looked so dominant in this race. Julian Correa up into the top 10. This is going to be his first top 10 finish of the year. His best result has been 12th. He started with us back at the Silverstone Grand Prix weekend, and as the American rider, and now here get back again at Donington Park. Said he was going to leave after the last round and have a look for next year, but now back again for this final round as well. So brilliant to have him. But now look at Cormac Buchanan.
Yeah.
Where's he come from?
Well, last lap was 2 seconds faster than these two guys, so he has got some pace. He's got a setting personal best sectors. He's going to catch them. There's 2 laps to go when they come over the line this next time. His pace is incredible, and Buchanan here could easily grab a second.
Now Cormac Buchanan very much in contention for a podium, for his 3rd podium of the year, I believe it will be, for Cormac Buchanan. So he's looking in, he's hungry. Is he going to be able to pick up his first, second place down the inside of Jamie Lyons? And he's passed them both in the matter of 2 corners. So now the number 24, Cormac Buchanan, can they stick with him now?
I don't think they can. Like I said that last lap, 2.3 seconds faster he was than these two. So got some unbelievable pace, and unless these two were just not expecting anyone to catch them, playing a bit of cat and mouse to the last lap. But there's certainly a cat amongst the pigeons now in the form of the Kiwi rider, number 24, Cormac Buchanan, and he's pulling away already, so looks like that second place is pretty safe.
And this is what they're saying to Casey O'Gorman. Just keep a whole head, think, and don't do anything too rash. It's an 18-second, well, it's a 19.1 second lead now that he has over Cormac Buchanan, and just a lap and a half for him, and he's going to pick up another win on his season. It's been so impressive for him this year since he came back from injury. It's been 6 wins, 9 podiums, and 1 fastest lap. And if it stays like this with Carter Brown down in 4th place, O'Gorman will take the championship lead going into the final race of the year tomorrow.
Brilliant, yeah, beautiful, these little microized Cresswell machines. John Cresswell been helping kids for more years than I care to remember in British Superbike paddock, and great to see him having success. Cormac Buchanan, of course, also on a Cresswell machine.
Yeah, so it's a Cresswell 1-2 at the moment in the Honda British Talent Cup, and Cormac Buchanan is matching Casey O'Gorman for pace.
Yeah.
On 1 lap, he's not going to bridge 20 seconds, but he's matching him for pace. So really the man on the move as they come round to make their way past the number 51 of Holly Harris. And now Carter Brown is just watching that championship slip away. Of course, it's still going to be wide open for tomorrow. Where's Evan Belford? He's 13th, so he's still in contention as well as it goes into the final race tomorrow. tomorrow, but Carter Brown is going to be wanting to pick up as many points as possible. He needs to get past Lyons, and ideally he needs to get past Buchanan.
Yeah, maybe not Buchanan, but I guarantee Carter Brown will have a lunge, he'll have a charge. He's not going to let this one go, and there's a first.
Oh, that's so close. He could have taken him out there. Very late decision.
Yeah, late decision, but he knew what could happen there, so he stood it up, got on the brakes. There's time yet. There's lots of passing places at the Grand Prix.
Oh, and look how late on the brakes he is here into Goddard's. How is this going to end? And he's really defensive of the number 7 of Jamie Lyons. Just manages to swipe the nose of the number 74 of Carter Brown. It's last lap time then. Casey O'Gorman it is that leads 18.3 seconds ahead of Buchanan. Buchanan is actually slightly catching O'Gorman, but it's going to be a hefty. He's not going to be able to catch him on this final lap. So it's going to be Casey O'Gorman. Just one lap for him to pick up another win, his 7th win on the season. But who's going to pick up this final podium spot?
Well, if I was Carter Brown, I'd follow Jamie Lyons. Jamie Lyons obviously had a look around there, and quite a sensible thing to do, just in case there was no one there. So he's had a confident look round. He's actually gapping Carter Brown. Looks like he's making inroads into Cormac Buchanan there, but this gap is too big at this point for Carter Brown to bridge. But if at all possible, number 74 Carter Brown, his best move would be to try and get in the back of Jamie Lyons and use that last corner manoeuvre into Goddard's, but he's not close enough at this point.
He's losing time on this last lap, and this is not what he wants at all. Out of podium contention, and that's only going to be 13 points for the number 74, with Casey O'Gorman scoring 25. It's disaster for Evan Belford as well, down in 13th. He's not going to pick up many points at all down there.
Jamie Lyons just set the fastest second sector of the race. Really got his head down, saving something to last. I'm surprised he let Cormac Buchanan get such a gap, because he's obviously got the pace and he's trying to close it. Well,
he's reacted to the pace of Cormac Buchanan, is following what he's doing, slightly faster than him. He was in sector 2, 0.2 quicker, but here is going to be your race winner, the number 67 of Casey O'Gorman. He's looking around. Where is everyone? 18.3 seconds back. Here are they, Casey? So he's looking around again, and he's going to cross the line, and this is big for the championship. Casey O'Gorman is going to take the championship lead and take the win here for race 1 of the Honda British Talent Cup at Donington Park. Who's it going to be that's going to take this 3rd place spot? It's going to be Buchanan in 2nd. It's Jamie Lyons, it looks like it's going to be. He's going to pick up 3rd place unless Carter Brown can get it dragged to the line. He's got a good line out on the exit. He's trying to get it to nip him on the line. Is he going to be able to do it there side by side? And it is Jamie Lyons that takes 3rd place ahead of Carter Brown. Reece Stevenson's going to pick up another top 5, his 2nd on the season. But what a brilliant victory for the number 67 of Casey O'Gorman. Here is the number 15 of Harrison Crosby picking up 6th, and Max Cook, a good ride from him to just about get ahead of Johnny Garness. Garness looking really distraught with that one. And here's Belford. This is big for that championship. Evan Belford then coming around this final corner for the final tour of this race 1 for that Honda British Talent Cup, and he's coming towards that checkered flag, and he's going to pick up a 13th place in this race, just behind the newcomer of Mike Down, the Netherlands rider, in 12th place. So this is big for that championship. Casey O'Gorman takes the race win and takes that championship lead.
Yeah, very impressive. Perfect day for Casey O'Gorman. And yeah, the other guys, I'm sure it would have been a different race in dry conditions, but it's all part of racing. You have to deal with this, especially in the UK. It's all about skills and strategy and a good crew behind you and a good team behind you. So yeah, good guys come out. Sometimes you can go and do what Casey O'Gorman did. Other times you just got to bring it home. So the championship contenders, it's not all over yet, but it's certainly looking a lot less likely. And we should get dry conditions for race 2, so we could see some different guys at the front.
Casey O'Gorman, and looking around, had to wait quite a while to see his competitors. They're all trying the wheelies down the back straight. Another win, 7th win on the season for Casey O'Gorman. And on that final lap, Carter Brown set the fastest lap of the race and put in the lap of his life to try and damage limitation for the championship, but it wasn't quite enough. Just missed out by 0.036 of a second. There he is then. Fastest lap of the race on that final lap. He wished he did it a bit earlier.
Well, and that's what his crew will say, but also if he'd gone down it would have been all over. So yeah, he's got the skills there. Dug very deep and threw everything at it. Maybe thought, well, I've got nothing to lose in the last lap and just try and grab something. But yeah, but pole position for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Pole position it'll be for Carter Brown tomorrow then, just ahead of Cormac Buchanan, who'll be second. Lyons and O'Gorman will actually, despite winning the race by 16 seconds, will actually be off of the front row tomorrow. But he's not going to be worrying about that just yet. There's Owen Jenner waiting in Parc Ferme for these top three in the Honda British Talent Cup, and they roll down pit lane now. Casey O'Gorman then another 25 points. What a win from him. Was so close to the limit all the way through this race. Had a better feel than absolutely anyone else. And there's Cormac Buchanan, delighted with that. His best result of the year, second place. So a brilliant result for the 14-year-old from New Zealand. Of course, also riding in the Red Bull Rookies. But there he is, they're the two Micro Cresswell guys hugging it out, first and second. Here it is confirmed then. Casey O'Gorman takes the 7th victory of the season, ahead of a personal best for Cormac Buchanan and another top 3 for Jamie Lyons. Carter Brown, second in the championship now, 4th ahead of another top 5 for Rhys Stevenson and another brilliant top 10 for Julian Correa's first top 10 in the Honda British Talent Cup. Here's the rest of them then. Just outside the top 10 was Sullivan Mounsey. Picked up his first win last time, his first podium last time out at Silverstone, ahead of Mike Down, who's his first weekend in the Honda British Talent Cup. And Evan Belford now really in 13th place, losing out on that championship points. Here is the championship then for the Honda British Talent Cup, and it's 1 point between it. Casey O'Gorman now in the lead of the championship, ahead of Carter Brown, and Evan Belford now still in the championship, but 17 points behind, so he's going to need a miracle tomorrow. The rest of them then, Keanu Via, the Dutch rider, is the top outside of the top 10 in 11th, ahead of Stuart Campbell's had such a difficult year, has Bailey Stewart Campbell, and Rhys Stevenson, Troy Jeffrey and Ryan Hitchcock, who's just back from injury, from that wrist injury, in 15th in the championship now. Casey O'Gorman then, another win on his season, and there's John O'Gorman cheering from pit lane. So tense, you can see the tension in his face, in his fist, and he's loving it. So many emotions coming from John O'Gorman, of course, father of Casey.
Casey O'Gorman, one of the most impressive wins I've seen from you all season, an 18-second lead there. It takes it to 1 point in the championship. Absolutely game on. What, though, was going through your head when your pit board said 18 seconds? Calm down. Ultimate lap.
Well, on the first lap it was only 2 tenths, and then I looked in the second lap and it was 2.9. It was amazing.
And just kind of talk me through that race and how difficult it actually was to race in the conditions that were thrown at you today.
Well, I watched a Superbike race before my race, and they looked very treacherous, but I managed to stay on.
You were doing a Gino Ria, basically, weren't you? Did you look at him and go, I want to be like that in my race later on and take the victory?
Yeah.
I've got to ask you, Casey, tomorrow is the last race of the season. You now lead the championship by 1 single point. How does that make you feel?
It's so good after what happened all the way back in Lock Hill. Come back from 91 points behind when we came back here, and now I'm leading the championship. It's amazing.
It is all to play for tomorrow. Casey O'Gorman, good luck. Well done today. We'll see you out here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we have
Just 1 point in it for the championship then for the Honda British Talent Cup. Just one race left tomorrow, and it could go any way between the top 3. Could be Casey O'Gorman, it could be Evan Belford, or it could be Carter Brown. 1 point between Casey and Carter Brown, 17 points all the way back to Evan Belford. But your top 3 in this race. All talking, and Scott Ogden up there as well, one of the graduates from the Honda British Talent Cup, and confirmed for a ride in Moto3 next year with the Michael Laverty Vision Track team. Jamie Lyons then another podium on his season. Brilliant result for the number 7 ahead of Cormac Buchanan. Looks delighted with that one. Microlise Cresswell 1-2 for race 1 at Donington Park for the Honda British Talent Cup, and a brilliant another 7th victory on the season for Casey O'Gorman, and regains that championship lead that he had so early on in the season. He's come back from injury and now back into the championship lead. Who's going to take it tomorrow? Scott Ogden is there to give them their trophies for this race 1 for the Honda British Talent Cup, and now that championship has been blown wide open in that race. Could go any way from the top, but it looks as if Casey O'Gorman in strong form around this Donington Park circuit. It was Casey O'Gorman who started from pole position and had the whole shot and led for the whole race for the Honda British Talent Cup race 1. Johnny Garness again got a flying start from the front row, but it was a little bit slow through the first corner of Redgate. Lucas Brown was looking menacing. We had an early crash for the number 44 of Luca Hill, who unfortunately went out of the race, and a few crashes all the way through. Peter Willis was another one of the fallers on the number 99. The number 67, it was of Casey O'Gorman that was leading out the front, but unfortunately the number 96, Rossi Banham, in podium contention, second in the race, crashed out. Could have been his first podium, but unfortunately goes down and out of the race. JJ Cunningham was another one of the riders on the Thornycroft Racing, but so was Harrison Desoy, who we just saw crash out there, and so close to making contact there between those guys. John O'Gorman was happy with that one. Casey O'Gorman took the win ahead of Jamie Lyons and Cormac Buchanan.